Welcome to Common Sense. Common Sense is a series of shows that feature interviews with interesting people so that we can learn who these folks are, what they do, and what makes sense to them and what doesn't. I'm Rudy Breglia, and today I'll be interviewing owner of Susan's Sugar and Spice Bakery, Walker Road and 83 in Avon Lake. Welcome, Susan, to Common Sense.
Thank you so much.
All right. Why don't you start us off, Susan, with some background information, where you were born, where you've lived, what brings you to Lorraine County?
Okay. Well, I was born in Kailua, Hawaii. My father was in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
So my parents were stationed there. And but I grew up mostly in Bay Village.
Oh, okay, right over here, right?
Yep, my mom's family is from there, and my parents met in Lakewood. So I primarily lived in this Cleveland area. I did spend 7 years in the South. Okay. In Georgia for a year, and then Tallahassee, Florida for the rest of the time, and then moved back to the Ohio, and back to Cleveland area in 1998. So I've been here since then. My husband and I live in Elyria, and we found out about this particular location just not even a year ago.
Okay.
So from a
brand new.
Yeah. So customer slash friend who said you really need to be in this area. So that's what brings me here.
Okay. Well, tell us about your career path.
Okay. Well, it's kind of an unusual one.
Okay.
So I think a little bit. I was a teacher for nearly 30 years.
Wow.
Mostly in the Cleveland schools.
Okay.
And I did teach while I was in Florida and Georgia as well. But I've always loved baking. So I started baking professionally in 23 years ago. Did it mostly out of my home. Okay. And only in 2019 did I actually venture out and do it at Midway Mall. That was when the first time I did it outside of my home. Okay. In 2013, I started Susan's Sugar and Spice. Okay. And worked out of the Cleveland Culinary Launch Kitchen in downtown. Okay. Was there for a couple of years. And then did it out of my home, and then I stopped. That was the time that I actually quit teaching and just focused on the baking. It was also the time that we went through the process of becoming foster parents, and so we fostered 9 kids and adopted 3. And so that was, I decided to stop baking out of my home and go back to teaching and focus on the kids. So. Okay. So taught, like I said, primarily in Cleveland, and then been doing full-time again since November 2 years ago. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So.
Well, I know that you're a Spanish teacher. When did you learn Spanish?
So that's an interesting question because I grew up with one of my best friends growing up was from Cuba. Oh, okay. And they were the only Cuban family in Bay Village, and so I heard Spanish for 8 years. I got you. And had no intention whatsoever of becoming a Spanish teacher. Her mother said to me, "Susan, you're going to take Spanish class." So I took it for 4 years in high school and hated it. Which is why I'm like, it was such a strange career path. But right out of high school, I was an AFS exchange student to Honduras. And that kind of changed my path of what I would do. Wow.
What was the best part of being a teacher? You did that for quite a while.
Yeah, I think it's really the connecting with students, being that positive influence, even correcting them like in life choices. That's one of the reasons I really enjoy teaching high school, is to be able to really help students in those critical times in life, like as they're trying to figure out their life patterns, life choices. So,
well, that's wonderful. I wish I had you as a teacher. Okay. What was difficult about starting a small business? Was it difficult?
Well, I've been doing it for 23 years, so I have my customers that are pretty loyal to me. But the difficult part is obviously money. Having enough money to make it through the times when you're not bringing those customers in. Really, payroll and utilities and things like that that are so high. You know, I want to pay my employees well. It's just hard. I have to sell a lot of croissants to do that.
I see. What advice would you give someone who wanted to start a new business? Don't do it. No,
don't do it. No, follow your passion. You have to be really passionate about it. You have to have a real reason to do it. If money is your only motivator, you're not going to succeed.
It won't carry you.
It won't, because like right now, if somebody were to say, you know, is it worth it? I'd be like, I'm not sure. But I love it. And that makes all the difference in the world.
When did you first develop an interest in baking, and did you have a role model?
So, I think I started baking when I was 9. My dad was my role model. My dad was an amazing baker. He loved playing in the kitchen. I learned the techniques from my mom. So she taught me measuring and reading recipes, but he was passionate about it. He loved playing with food. So what if we did this? And what if we did that? What if we added that? And I definitely have that gene from him.
What do you like best about baking?
I think the creativity of it, and then just making people happy with what I make. You know, when they are saying how they loved it, or it was a part of, you know, and I get to be a part of people's celebrations. Even funerals, you know, I get to bring love into that situation, something good into a situation. And of course, being a part of people's weddings is huge. It's huge.
Very happy about it. What goods do you typically have each day in the bakery? And I can look around here, and you have quite a variety.
So every day we freshly bake cinnamon rolls, pecan rolls, Danish, croissants, bread, our breakfast, our sandwiches, our Sammy's handheld sandwiches. We have cookies. We have a wide variety, and I think that's kind of been the hardest thing, is making sure everything is fresh every single day.
Do you have some items that you only have at certain times, or during certain seasons? You already said a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do. So especially at Christmas time, there are those Christmas favorites that you really love. Pecan snowballs, kolachkis, and I know sometimes people will ask me for things, and I'm like, I don't know how to make that, but I'm more than willing to try. Like family favorites. But yeah, certain things lend themselves better to certain seasons. Like right now, it's fruity things, lemon ricotta cookies, or things like that. So,
Now, do you have selected ethnic baked goods? You already mentioned the Polish.
Right. We do. We have. I mean, here's the thing. I love bringing in things that people want from or trying recipes that they want from their culture. So kolachkis were something that I actually had a really wonderful Polish woman, and she came in and she would make the kolachkis for us. And then I learned from her, but I had one customer tell me about nut roll, that she was from Romania, and that her nut roll was different than other nut rolls. And I said, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. She's actually made a video of it. She lives here in Avon Lake.
Wow.
And it was the most wonderful thing. I said, oh, that's wonderful, and I watched her video, and it looked wonderful. It's a very long process to make it because it's a yeast bread rising, and the nuts and the filling and the baking. She called me one night. I was still here. It was late. It was dark, and she said, "It's coming out of the oven. Come on over." And
wow.
I sat at her kitchen counter, her island, and ate nut roll with her and her family.
Maybe I should have her in the next show.
Maybe. She's a very neat, very interesting woman. Very fun. Hi, good morning. I'm Susan with Susan's Sugar and Spice in Avon Lake. And to get started, I'm going to introduce you to two of my staff members. They've been with me here since November when we opened. We laughingly say they came with the building. So this is Jill Robinson. She is my cookie girl. She does a lot of the cookies that we do for Salad Craze and for our cases. So she brings lots of fun recipes. Hey, I've seen this. I think we should try that. And then this is JD, Jeffrey Doss. He is our bread man. He does our cinnamon rolls, pecan rolls, the bread, our stuffed sandwiches, our Danish. So he's our bread man. So I've been very blessed to have these two stay with me from the beginning, and we all make a great team. We do have a few other staff members that are not here today, and we have to cover a lot of hours during the week. So that's the trick of being a business owner, is you have to manage everybody's schedules and when and where they can be. So thank you so much.
Okay, so Susan, what are we going to be making today?
So we're going to be doing two dishes. The first one is our sticky buns. So when we make our sticky buns, there's kind of a very long process that goes into it. First, this is our dough. Get it off here. Oh, it's sticky. It wants to stick. So this is our sweet roll dough. And we use this for the sticky buns and the cinnamon rolls. It's the same process. The difference is what goes in the pan. For our cinnamon rolls, nothing goes in the pan to start, but then we glaze them afterwards, after they're done.
Well, so, I'm going to try this at home.
Are you? Good luck. No, I'm just teasing. So we have here this is our caramel sauce that goes in the bottom of the pan. Okay. Not all of this, but we very generously put this, usually about 1.5 cups of our sticky bun glaze. This is a brown sugar glaze that we use. And obviously we're going to spread it out. It does spread as the cinnamon or the sticky buns rise. So we don't have to spend too much time spreading. From there, as it kind of spreads out a little bit, we're going to add our pecans. We use a toasted pecan. We feel like that brings out the nuttiness of the nut, kind of an earthier tone to it. So we're going to put this, and we like to be happy with these. Lots of pecans. Okay, so that's the base of our sticky buns, just like that. So then we're going to take our dough. Now this dough has been prepped like the night before. It's rested. It's then gotten out in the morning, and then it kind of rises a little bit more. We're going to roll it out. Let me put this one underneath here. Whoops, thank you.
Okay.
We're going to roll it out very thin. I'm going to lock this. Oops. Hold on just a second. I'm going to lock my table. Maybe. Because it can't roll if it's rocking. So, all right. We're just forming a nice large triangle, or rectangle, I mean, to be able to spread all our goodness on it. JD, would you be able to get me a knife? I forgot to bring one.
Thank you, sir.
How long have you been doing these, Susan?
Actually, just since we opened.
Okay.
We had to, so, you know, the former owners, they were known for their sticky buns and cinnamon rolls. Thank you, sir. And so when we, you know, I was really more of the cake person and the cookie person, and that's what I've been known for. But of course, the people of Avon Lake were like, hey, we're used to having our sticky buns and cinnamon rolls. When are you going to start making those? So we had to, you know, quick, fast, and in a hurry, experiment with our own recipes and come up with the one that we were happy with. And so just since probably December, I think, is when we started it. Same with our breads. We did research, and actually JD found the recipe online for a traditional pepperoni roll. So we're using about a half a stick of butter. Here, 4 tablespoons. Oh, thank you. And we're gonna literally just smear this around on ours. We're leaving about an inch or so here on this side to, so when we roll it, we are able to roll it and seal it, the cinnamon rolls or sticky buns. Now, if you were a purist, you'd get your hands in there and smush it all around, but personally, I don't like the feel on my fingers, so I'm just using a spatula. All right, making sure each area has love. My dad would tell me, you know, when he was making a sandwich, he said, corners need love too. So everything needs love. And then we're gonna mix, we have a mixture here of brown sugar, white sugar, and cinnamon. Okay.
What are the proportions?
Ooh, I don't.
Half and half?
No, it's a majority is the brown sugar. White sugar is to just give it a little bit difference of texture.
Okay.
And then generous amounts of cinnamon and a little bit of salt. Because when you bake, you always want salt and sugar together. So then what we do is we spread it out. Make sure it's all even. Okay. There we go. We want it to be generous. You gotta taste the cinnamon in it, and the sugar. All right. Get a new glove, maybe. Here we go. It's funny, I don't like anything on my hands. So if I get stuff on my hands, I'm constantly washing them, so. All right, so we're gonna pull and roll our sticky bun dough. If it's too loose, when it rises, it tends to be a little bit more lopsided. So we pull and roll. We'll get to a point where it's going to be easier to roll. But we kind of just pull it a little bit. Now we get here generally between 3 and 4 every morning in order to prep the breads, prep the cinnamon rolls, the Danish, all of that.
You make these every day?
Every day. Every morning, fresh. Now you can find some of them in our on our table. Whatever's left over from the day before, we put for half price. And then after that day, we bring them to the, or even on Sundays, we bring them to the community resource services in Avon Lake. They do a beautiful job of helping people. So we donate our extras to them so that they can help out the community. So we've been doing that for several months now, so. All right, so what I'm doing right now is just kind of trying to even it out. I'm gonna roll it on that seam to make sure the seam is closed. Just evening it out. You can kind of feel the texture of it and that is equal distance. We're gonna cut off those ends. They make great pull aparts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut this in half. And then I'm going to cut each half into 5 equal pieces. And if they don't look equal, cut this off, put it with the extras.
Okay, so you make 10 rolls?
10 rolls from one bread, yep.
Okay.
We smash it down. If we were to just leave it like that, they would be really tall and not very fat. So we want our cinnamon rolls fat. Okay, this one.
I think it's going to work out. Looks
you think
like
so?
It's going to be perfect.
All right, yeah. So one of the things that we do is I try and do, if we were to leave it like this, as it proofs, as it rises, it'll push that center in. So I just poke them in the middle so that as it cooks, it's not uneven. So just a little thing I've learned. All right, so that is what it would look like when it starts. And I'm going to grab the ones that are over here.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like, right? So it goes from here to here. Actually, we would probably leave these a little bit longer to proof. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like. And then in a few minutes, we're going to pop this in the oven. So we're going to let it proof a little bit longer. Right? And then JD, if you wouldn't mind, will you cover these? Thank you so much. All right. So what we would do with these scraps is we can cut them up and put them in cupcake liners or in a little loaf, and we will bake them up as little pull-apart things, monkey bread as they call it.
Okay.
Glaze it. We can put the caramel sauce. We could put nuts. We could put apples in it. So there's a lot of things we could do with this as well, and we're going to just set that aside.
What are the general steps? I know it's a simple question. For me, it's kind of complex, but what are the general steps in the baking process?
So it depends on what you're baking.
Okay.
But obviously, you gather all your ingredients, make sure you have everything before you start. It's one of the things about baking that's a little different from cooking. In cooking, you can make lots of substitutions. In baking, you can't. Because it's a chemical reaction. Yeah, it's a chemical reaction. So if you don't have certain ingredients, it won't work. So depending on what you're making, if you're making a cake, I always say crack the eggs first in case there's shell. When you're doing a rising bread with a yeast, you want to proof your yeast if you can first.
Okay.
Make sure your yeast is going to rise, because if it doesn't bubble, it doesn't awaken with the water and the sugar and whatever you're adding, then you don't want to use it because your bread will be flat. So there's usually a process. So if we were making cookies, we would cream the butter, and the sugars together, make them fluffy, then add your eggs, then add your flour at the last. So there's, depending on what you're making, is the steps to go.
Okay.
So we're switching gears. We're going savory. Our next dish, and I'm going to wipe this down in just a sec, trying to get the rest of this off. Our next dish is a pepperoni roll. But I like to kind of kick things up a little bit, make things unique, because that's just how I am. And so when we decided to do the pepperoni rolls, we did some research, and JD found a recipe. And do you have any idea where pepperoni rolls came from?
No.
No? Okay, so if you thought pepperoni rolls, I'm sure you probably think New York, got the pepperoni, the Italian. Rome, yeah. No, West Virginia. West Virginia. And that really surprised me.
I knew it was going to be a trick question.
It is a trick question, you know. I was a former teacher. We always have to have those trick questions, right? And so I was surprised by that, but I found out it was because the miners would go into the mines and they needed something substantial and easy to carry. That makes sense. And that was shelf stable, basically. So they would roll up in their bread the meat, the cheese, everything in it, and so that the miners would have something to eat in the mines. Sounds great. We're going to do 2 types. Where's my dough balls? Woo. We're going to do 2 types of sandwiches today. We're going to do a traditional pepperoni roll, and then we're going to do a, my fun thing. I love spinach. I love feta cheese. Tomatoes are my passion. My husband knows, don't bring me flowers, bring me homegrown tomatoes. That's my thing. So these, again, we make the dough fresh in the morning. We make our bread out of this as well. So we usually have some loaves of bread. Some have sea salt on them. Some have everything seasoning for the bread. But this is, these are going to be our sandwiches, our Sammies, our stuffed Sammies. So this is 155 grams. We weigh all of them. We let them proof once, which means rise once. And then we're going to use our dough. So what's kind of fun is I love playing with food. I love playing with food. I love coming up with new recipes, new ideas, new things to put it in. But you know what? Our customers are really good at that too. And they'll come to us and say, have you ever tried? Would you be willing to try? And so we're always willing to try anything. Yeah, we're up to that. My one of our newest employees is Rachel Goodwin, and her family's here in Avon Lake. She's a substitute teacher. She and her husband's a new police officer here in Avon Lake, and she gave me an idea. She said, what about something with like fig and goat cheese? I said, oh, you're speaking my language. We need to try that. So, all right. So we're going to make nice little rectangle here. Why am I saying triangle today? I'm not sure.
That's okay.
It's one of those things. And then we're going to be very generous with our cheese. We usually use like a ½ cup of cheese. Maybe that's a little too much because we don't want it coming out the sides. All right. So we've got our cheese here. We use 12 pieces of pepperoni per pepperoni roll.
What kind of cheese is that?
Mozzarella provolone mix.
Okay.
It's a mozzarella provolone. So we want the pepperoni kind of in every bite. So we spread it around. We'll do a couple more. So Rudy, if you had to build your own Rudy sandwich, what would you have on it?
Pepperoni, provolone cheese, and maybe some green peppers.
Okay, okay. How about you? What would you put in it? Nothing?
We don't usually talk to the cameraman.
Oh, we don't talk to the cameraman. My mistake. So sorry. No, I've tried it with like I like spicy and sweet. That's my signature profile. And so we've done jalapeno cream cheese, ham, eggs, and then I do a sweet hot pepper sauce on that, which we have here in the shop. Oh, it's delicious. It's delicious. So now what I'm doing is...
When you generally prepare these, what is in them? Or are they cooked to order?
No, our standard ones are pepperoni, spicy pepperoni, which has a pepper jack cheese, the pepperoni, regular cheese, mozzarella, and then it has banana peppers in it.
Okay.
We've done ham and cheese. We do the spinach, tomato, onion, feta. We do pulled pork with JD's barbecue sauce and Firehouse pineapple salsa in it. Wow. We do sausage and sauerkraut with caramelized onions. We've done Reuben rolls. We've done all beef hot dogs and cheese. So we've really experimented a lot with what we are doing. We've done a buffalo chicken, which was very good. So, like I said, I love playing with food. So if anybody has a suggestion for a sandwich, I'm all ears.
Okay.
Because we can always try it. And we will, you know what? If it's a really good one, we'll name it after the person who suggests it. How's that? So what we're doing is we're tucking it under and pinching it. We put our Italian seasoning on, our pepperoni and our cheese. So this is our pepperoni roll. JD's makes his slightly different the way he folds it, but same stuff.
Okay.
Different form. Mine looked like a little torpedo. I don't know. Okay. When I'm done. The next one we're going to do is a spinach, tomato, onion, and feta.
Okay.
This one is great because it is it's people who are vegetarians can have it because we don't have any meat in it. Now we've done some things that are vegan as well. Although our bread does have milk in it, it is cooked, so if somebody has a dairy allergy, it should be okay. But we do like hummus, shane cliche, and the shane cliche is what we actually use to make our spinach. It's tomatoes, onions, olive oil, lemon juice, seasonings, and then we can use that as well in the sandwich with hummus and feta cheese. It's a really nice sandwich, one of my favorites. So we're going to take our spinach, tomato, onion, feta mixture. This is chopped spinach, tomatoes, onions, green onions, and feta cheese with a mixture of sour cream and a little mayo. Of course, it's seasoned well. We're going to slap that on there like that. Spread it out. We don't want to get the ends, so we kind of push it in. Then we are going to put another sprinkle of mozzarella because, why not? Mm-hmm. We should always have mozzarella in our lives. You'd think I was Italian. You would think that, just because
So you don't have any Italian?
No.
French? Is French?
English. English, yeah, from Cornwall, England. My family is originally from there.
Oh.
My last name is St. Aubyn. So it's my maiden name, I should say.
Okay.
My maiden name. My husband's family is German, but I just love all of it, and I speak Spanish, so it's just all over. I was an exchange student after high school for the summer with AFS, and I was eager to go anywhere, and just I love learning about different cultures. So. I ended up going to Honduras and got to meet my host brother and family. So, all right, so we have two different kinds here. As you can tell, they roll out slightly different. And so what we're going to do now is put them on our pan, put them on our baking pan with some parchment. And the thing that we like to do is to put an egg wash on it. Okay. It gives it a really pretty color, a shine to it. So this is just mixed up eggs. We're going to very generously egg wash these. Now, if somebody was doing one of the vegetarian ones and wanted to leave out the egg wash, we can certainly do that as well. You can always order them in advance if you know, hey, I'm having a party and I want some sandwiches.
Those, yeah.
So
certain mixture.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we can do them half size too. So I find that cutting them once you have them, cutting them up, serving them with a sauce, they make great appetizers. So you're having people over, they make wonderful appetizers too. So on our pepperoni, and the reason we do this is in order to differentiate between the different ones in the case, because otherwise they look a lot alike. We're going to put a couple pepperonis on this one. Yeah.
Oh, that's sharp.
That's why we're like, okay, we can tell the difference without opening them up. So we put 2 pepperonis on there, and I'm going to put just a sprinkle of cheese on this feta, tomato, and spinach. Sometimes you put a little of the spinach mixture on there as well. So we're putting that in. Now, what we're going to do is to pop these in the oven, and then I'm going to show you those pecan rolls, and we might do that as well. Okay. And we do have some of our prepared sandwiches in the cases. Do you have a fork? No. Sure. There we go. There's one. Thank you. Would you like some dipping sauce for this? We make our homemade marinara for it.
Do you have it handy?
Yep.
Do you have any old family secret recipes
that
you make?
Absolutely. Our mandarin orange cake with the pineapple whipped cream is a family recipe. My mom got it from someone back in the 70s.
Okay.
It was my favorite recipe growing up. I would always make that cake for my birthdays, and that started everything else.
So between us friends, would you reveal one secret recipe today?
I could, and then I'd have to kill you.
Oh, I see.
That's the way it works.
All right. Well, we'll go right past that question. So where do you get new recipes? You already kind of alluded to it a little bit from people, customers.
Yeah, I love when people bring me something and say, "This was a family favorite. I don't make it. I don't know how to make it. I don't bake, or I don't have the time. Can you try it?" Of course, scrolling on Facebook things, and I look at a recipe, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. My mom is famous for saying, oh, I found this recipe. I think you should make it. And sometimes people send me recipes. They're like, hey, you need to try this.
So you're saying you do test it, you know?
Oh, yes.
Now, do you test it on your family? And you look around, see if they have smiling faces?
My staff is getting used to going, testing everything for me. Here, try this. What do you think? Does it need more? My family, even customers, I'll be like, hey, especially my regular customers, I'll say, wait there. I just tried this. Why don't you, take a bite with, or take it home with you? And I send it home with people because I want honest feedback from different people. So my kids are kind of funny. They're right now 8, 10, and 12, which we adopted obviously later in life.
Okay.
My youngest was born when I was 2 months shy of 50. So they're kind of not the best critics of things because they have very undiscerning palates. So they're kind of like, it's okay. They're just used to mom's cooking.
Okay. Well, tell us about baking focaccia bread. Okay,
focaccia is so we have a new restaurant here in town called Audacious.
Okay.
It just opened a week and a half ago.
Right.
And one of the things that they wanted to do was have bread service as one of their offerings with focaccia bread. I had never made it before. Never made it. So they came in probably 10 days before their opening and they said, our usual supplier is no longer supplying it. Would you do it? And that's one of those, okay, I think
I can do
so.
That.
I think I can do that. And so, of course, we had to try it. We tried it just with the bread that we use for our pepperoni rolls and our Italian bread. No, it wasn't the same. So we had to find another recipe. I had a friend who's also a chef come in, and he was helping me, showing me the steps. It's a long process. I start it the night before, let the bread proof, take it out, divide it. It's a very loose bread, so you're constantly like stretching it and trying to make it go in the pan the way, and you stretch it and it goes back. It's been a lot of fun, but they're flying through it. People love it, so it's really yummy.
Well, I'm glad that worked out.
Thank you, yeah.
Now, once you determine the ingredient that you need, do you kind of stick with the brand and,
a lot of times,
always go back and say, I want this brand because I know it works?
Right, yeah. Sometimes there are certain things that we can do that with. There, for example, a certain type of yeast that we know always works, so we always go back to that. A certain type of salt, because we know that brand of salt is going to give us this saltiness.
All right.
A lot of times with flour, certain things that we want to do. So yeah, there are certain brands that we use.
Do you use baking soda or yeast, or you flip back and forth?
Oh, no, they're totally different. Yeast is a live thing, so once you've awakened it, it's good for rising breads. Where when you do a cake or like a bread, like a blueberry bread, that's when you would use the baking soda. Baking soda.
Understand. Do you have a variety of gluten-free products in the store?
We do. We have cupcakes and cake and cookies, Oreos. Now we have Oreos, cake bombs that are gluten-free. We're very conscientious when we're preparing anything to make sure that space is clean and allergen-free, and nobody else is baking anything at that time that has flour in it. So.
Do you get a lot of people coming in about allergy issues
yes,
and asking you questions about that?
And we welcome those questions. I will say, you know, it's a full-scale bakery, so we can't say that this facility is only gluten-free and that there's no other allergens around. But we do our best when people are, you know, we try to be very conscientious of that.
Okay. Now, you mentioned it in passing before. Tell us about cake bombs. Now,
cake bombs.
I would imagine you can't use that term in the airport.
No. We wouldn't want to say cake bomb. Exploding cake would be kind of funny, but no. So cake bombs are like a cake pop, only bigger.
Okay.
And our cake bombs are more cakey than gooey, or like a lot of times when people make cake bombs, they really grind up the cake and the frosting. So when you bite into it, it's very soft. It's almost like dough.
Okay.
Ours, we try to keep it more cakey.
Okay.
So it's so they're bigger. They're about the size of a cupcake. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed in the store that you actually have candies that are freeze-dried, that kind of pop out as one of your expansion products.
Yes. So freeze drying is a lot of fun.
Okay.
So I have, as I told you, a friend / former customer who came to me. She said, "Susan, you really should try this freeze drying thing. Did you know about freeze-dried candy?" I knew nothing about it.
Okay.
It's the same process that is used to send food to the moon. By dropping the temperature of an item, a food item, and then it extracts all of the liquid from it. So for candy, what's kind of fun is it blows it up.
Wow.
It really like expands it, and then it becomes very crunchy.
All right.
So I actually purchased a commercial size freeze dryer before I knew about this space. Before I ever moved, we had the freeze dryer.
You're brave.
So. A little crazy. So it's a lot of fun. We say we blow up candy all the time. So.
Okay. All right. Tell us about your advocacy efforts for small businesses.
It's kind of a passion for me, especially women-owned businesses. I'm not exclusive, but I understand after doing this for 23 years, and I did have my own sauce company, St. Aubyn's Pride, back from 2007 to 2009. And I love sauces. I love the spice part of it as well, not just the sweets. I love cooking as well as baking, but I remember how hard it was to get into places, to sell things. Now, especially since COVID, buying things online has become so much easier. And it's hard in one way and easier in others. It's hard for us to have physical products and people know to come and get it. So when I encounter something that I think is superior, really great, or that is unusual, I'm more than happy to bring it into our space and offer it to customers, because I think it is hard to get into other places. So we have popcorn from Grand Pacific Popcorn Company. We have Firehouse Salsa from it's a company right here in Avon Lake. He's a retired fireman. We have beautiful cards that are handmade and little plaques and things. And then my who I'm keeping super busy is my cookie decorator. She makes the most incredible handmade, hand-done decorated cookies. They are works of art, every single one of them. And then on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we bring in donuts and apple fritters from my niece's bakery in Amherst and Wellington.
Wow.
So I'm very proud of that fact. I advertise it. You know, these are not my products, but here we have it here on our shelves.
Well, that's wonderful. It gives you a lot of variety.
It does. It does.
Okay. Well, when is your store open?
So currently, we're doing some summer hours.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people are on vacation. You're probably not thinking cinnamon rolls when it's 90 degrees out. So we found that Tuesdays and Wednesdays tend to be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And that's hard because we're different than a restaurant. Restaurants, when the customers come in, they order, they prepare it, and out it goes. Bakeries, you have to have everything ready.
You can't wait for it to
and
bake.
You know, you get up at 3, you make your breads, your cinnamon rolls, everything, and then no one comes in. And then they're waste. They're not waste, but we donate a lot to the community resources.
Okay.
Here in Avon Lake.
I'm familiar with the organization.
Yes, yes. Great organization.
Right on Lake Road.
Right, right. So like for right now, everything that we didn't sell yesterday will go today to that.
Okay, understand.
But it is hard, you know, to put your everything into those things in that. So right now, summer hours, Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 8 to 8, and Sunday from 8 to 6. No, 4.
Okay.
8 to 4 on
8
Sunday.
To 4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where is your bakery located?
So we are in the Avon Lake Town Center shopping center. It's kind of we're behind, as you said, Walker Road and 83. We're behind the drugstore, Cleveland Clinic, but next to the kitchen and in the same shopping center as the DMV or the BMV and Parker's.
Okay, I understand. How can someone get in touch with you?
The best way is to call or text me. Do you want me to give you the number? 216-323-6905.
And the website?
The website is susansugarspice.com. It's always best to text me because sometimes my hands are busy and I'm stirring the pot, right? And I'm baking and doing something and it's hard to answer the phone. So if I hit my thing and say can't talk right now, it's not because I'm trying to ignore a call. It's I'm really in the middle of doing something and I can't stop.
Okay.
So.
Well, in summary, Susan, what's making sense to you and what doesn't?
So I think one of the things that I hope that people understand is being a small business, so for people to support small businesses is vital to any community. If you don't support small businesses in your community, you will have empty storefronts.
Understand.
If you always go to Walmart or Giant Eagle, I mean, I shop there too. But if you understand that your community has a small business, you need to make it a priority to stop there, to buy there, to get something there. Because if not, they won't be there.
Okay, disappear.
They will disappear. And, you know, for some people, it's not, you know, if everybody gets into the mindset of, I'm going to spend $5 a week at a small business, at that small business every week, and 100 people did that, that's $500 of sales that we wouldn't have. And those $500 can make a huge difference, you know, every week. Mm-hmm. It's hard as a small business, you know, to keep being there for everybody. The other thing is we can't do everything all the time. We can't make pies, make things, you know, and also do special orders. If people want something, great, just let me know in advance and I can try and have that ready for them.
Susan, you haven't mentioned the trailer that
I haven't. Yes. So we, before we even found out about this location, we had purchased last summer a food trailer in order to be able to go to different fairs and festivals and really get our name out there because, as I said, I'm known for my cakes and cookies and things like that. This summer, while we have our storefront, we're doing a little bit less of that and more select locations. So for example, tonight we're going to be at the community kickoff for the football team. Tomorrow we're going to be in Parma. We will be doing the Oktoberfest in Breglia. So that's September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 8th, 9th. Little trepidation about that because that's a lot of people to get, you know, cookies and copa cakes and things made for. But when we have our trailer out, we really love to do boba lemonade, which is a lemonade with these bursting fruit flavored boba balls. We have our copa cakes, which are cake and cream in a cup. We have cookies and bars and brownies, and we have our freeze-dried candy.
Okay, and people can get in touch with you and find out where your food truck is going to be.
Absolutely, and it usually is on our website, like under events.
Oh, okay, that's great. Well, Susan, thank you very much. I have my eye on that pepperoni sandwich. I know that'll be ready soon.
It will be.
Well, thank you very much for appearing on the show.
You're welcome.
Please give us feedback on the show, and remember,
seatbelts save lives.
The preceding program was presented to you by a community producer. The statements, views, and opinions expressed were not necessarily those of ALC TV or the City of Avon Lake.